Should you private label on Amazon, or should you create your own product from scratch to sell on Amazon? Today, we're gonna go over the pros and cons of both of these, and at the end of this video, I'll tell you what my personal favorite way to make money on Amazon is. But first, let's talk about the pros of private labeling on Amazon, which is really hot right now. Everybody on YouTube is talking about this as a great way to make money online. So the first pro of private labeling is it's really easy to get started. Basically, private labeling is taking a product that already exists and slapping your own brand on it, putting it up on Amazon, and maybe taking better photos, making the listing look better, driving traffic, marketing that product better. This is private labeling in a nutshell, and it's really pretty simple to do once you get the hang of it. The hardest part by far is figuring out what product you're going to sell. This is called product research, and I do have a video up here and a link down below on how you can do product research for Amazon FBA. But the biggest pro is it's pretty easy to get started. You don't need a lot of creativity. You find a product and you put your own label on it and you do a better job than other people. The second pro is selling on Amazon through private label is a great way to make passive income. Basically, I think this is one of the best ways to make passive income because Amazon handles all the logistics. They handle the fulfillment, which means shipping it to the customers. They handle a lot of the marketing strategy for you. Once you get the initial sales snowball rolling, sales will keep coming in. So it's a great way, in my opinion, to make passive income. And the third pro is you can live and work from anywhere. Because everything that you're doing is online, you can live pretty much anywhere in the world, and you can work when you want to from wherever you want to, which is really awesome. A lot better than your typical corporate job. So private labeling sounds pretty awesome, but let's take a look at creating your own product. So creating your own product on Amazon is very similar to private labeling, but rather than finding something that already exists, you try to create something new. You try to create something that maybe doesn't already exist on Amazon or nobody's already selling. An example of this would be Performance Nut Butter, which is my company, which is a macadamia coconut cashew blended nut butter, which didn't exist before I created it. Or Vino Cards, a company my girlfriend started, I helped her start. And both these aren't private label products because there's something that didn't exist yet. So let's look at the pros of those. So the first pro is when you create something unique that's different than anything that exists on Amazon already, you don't have any competition. Basically, there's nobody else selling the same thing as you. So as long as there's demand for what you're selling, you don't have any competition. No one is stealing away your sales. You don't have to get into price wars. You don't have to deal with any of this. You have a unique product, and that's something that people will want. The second pro is you can sell on Shopify as well. So Amazon's a great way to get up and running, but there's a lot of negatives to selling on Amazon, especially if you don't also have a Shopify site. I have a versus video up here and down below about Amazon versus Shopify. The truth is, I think you should sell on both Amazon and Shopify. But if you're just selling boring old private label products, nobody's gonna type in your website and go buy your boring private label products. They're gonna buy those from Amazon. But if you're selling something unique, you can offer discount codes, you can offer good reasons for people to go to your website, and you can grow your Shopify site much bigger. And the thing is, Amazon can kick you off whenever they want, more or less. Shopify will not kick you off. The third pro is when you create something unique, it's much easier to do all the different traditional types of marketing. Instagram, Facebook ads, anything SEO, articles, everything that you can think about, you can do if you have a unique product that you've created yourself. If you're just putting a label on toilet plungers and that is your private label product, it's hard to get a lot of buzz around that. It's hard to get a lot of social media following. And one of the big benefits is if you get this really big social media following, then you can drive them to your Amazon page if you want, or you can drive them to your Shopify site if you want. Ultimately, it's much easier to do this if you're creating a unique product. Sure, if you have a really high quality brand, you could still do the Instagram following, you can still all do this, but people can kind of sniff out if there's something unique about your product or if you're just slapping a label on a different Amazon product. And the last pro I have for creating your own product is you can do a Kickstarter or some kind of a crowdfunding campaign. So even if you're tight on cash, you can get up and running by doing it as a Kickstarter. You can also use a Kickstarter to test to see if there's anybody that's interested in buying your product. Both myself for Performance Nut Butter and Ariana for Vino Cards did a Kickstarter first to make sure that people actually wanted to buy our products. And then we took the money we raised from that and actually bought the products to post them up on Amazon. Now, there are some cons for creating your own product, but first, let's go into the cons of private labeling. The first big con with private labeling is it's really easy for someone to copy you. Most of private labeling is you just copying someone else, so there's not a lot stopping someone else from copying you. And this can come in about 3 different forms. One, it could come from just another Amazon FBA seller copying you. There's nothing to stop them. 2, it could come from China. China could copy you. The actual manufacturers are doing this more and more often. And this personally is why I don't think private labeling is a great long-term strategy unless you're growing a brand around it or creating something unique around your private label product. China is basically going in, copying private label Amazon listings already and undercutting them because they are the manufacturer. They can do it much cheaper than you. And when you hire a manufacturer in China to produce your product, there's not a lot stopping them from copying it. And third, and maybe most scary of all, is Amazon. If Amazon sees that whatever you're selling is really successful, they're gonna come in and they're gonna make a private label version of that themselves. This is called Amazon Basics. They have a few other labels as well. And I buy Amazon Basics all the time because they're cheap and Amazon usually promotes it to be the #1 spot. I have a backpack and a tripod. I think this tripod right here is an Amazon's Basics tripod. So if you're too successful with something that's just a boring private label, Amazon will copy you. It's much harder for them to copy a Performance Nut Butter or a Vino Cards because, to be honest, it's not worth their time. And the last con for just simply private labeling is if you go to sell the company, it's just not gonna be worth as much as if you have a unique product that you created from scratch. So let's get into the cons of creating your own product. And there's definitely some big cons. I think the biggest one is you need to do more research. If you're gonna be creating something unique, you need to spend a little bit more time making sure the idea makes sense. Now, the way that I got around this personally is I create products that I'm interested in. I call these passion products. Performance Nut Butter was made for me. I was the target demographic, and I knew that if I could make something that I really wanted, there'd probably be at least another 1,000 people out there that are interested in healthy fats as me. Same thing, Vino Cards, my girlfriend and I were interested in learning more about wine, and we knew that if we wanted to learn more about wine, there was probably at least another 1,000 people that wanted to learn more about wine just like we did. But all that being said, I still think you need to do much more research in figuring out how to make your product perfect if you're creating something unique from scratch. The second con is if you are creating something, it might take more money to get up and running, but that really depends. If you can do it properly as a Kickstarter or some kind of a crowdfunding campaign, it'll actually be a lot less expensive than if you're doing just a simple private label. But if you're creating something super elaborate, then it might be a lot to start up. Once again, for Performance Nut Butter or Vino Cards, there wasn't a lot of crazy patentable design utility that we needed to come up with, so it didn't take a ton of money to get started. So which one of these is the better way to make money online? Well, it really depends. In some ways, I think private label might be easier to make quicker cash. It's still gonna take a little bit of time, but by far, I think creating your own product or creating what I call a passion product is the better way to actually build a real company. Almost every major successful company, this is what they did. They created something, maybe they found something that already exists, like Nike, shoes already exist, but they found a way to make it slightly better. Performance Nut Butter found a way to make nut butter a little bit more premium, a little bit more exclusive. If you are gonna be selling on Amazon, you can click up here or down below to get my Amazon Success Pack, which includes a checklist to get started and a bunch of other tools, notes, a bunch of useful information. And you can check out this video right here for some of my top Amazon tips. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.